Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right On Rangers Live, coming at you after a disappointing Cowboys game, and that may be putting it lightly. But welcome in. I hope you're having a good Sunday. Despite the results of this one, we're going to get into everything here in just a little bit. Cowboys fall 34-6 at the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles. Not a game I feel like a lot of Cowboys fans expected them to win. I know I surely didn't. I think we can all agree it would have been nice to have a little bit of a better showing in this one nonetheless. But the Cowboys fall 34-6. We're going to get into the box score. We're going to go through some of the key moments in the game. Try and pick out some bright spots here and there. It's not going to be easy, but we're going to try to get it done. First of all, though, here at Right On Rangers, we cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Cowboys, and especially the Cowboys during the NFL season. Thank you for choosing Right On Rangers for all of your Dallas Cowboys post-game content. Let's do it. So, first of all, I think that some of us were a little quick to, I don't want to say crown Cooper Rush, but I think some of us Cowboys fans were a little bit too quick to think that Cooper Rush was going to come in and help give this Cowboys team a boost, a positive result, whatever you want to call it. Tonight, the performance from Rush was not it. It was repulsive. I really don't know if it was Cooper Rush out there just soiling the bed, or if, on the other hand, it was script, it was the Cowboys' offensive play calling, just wanting to keep things simple for him. Nonetheless, I don't know if you saw more than 5 passes, like attempted passes over 10 yards. Felt like every other pass was a 5-yard out or a hitch route of some kind. Again, don't know if that was more Cooper Rush. Don't know if that was more the Cowboys offensive play calling. Would love to be the one asking those types of questions in the post game. We'll have to tune in, see what Mike McCarthy says. But for Cooper Rush to come out and really look afraid to throw the ball downfield. I mean, look, it was 3rd and 10, and multiple times we were throwing it 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards. So anyone that thought Cooper Rush was going to come in and lead this team to a victory in this moment, or like myself thought, you know what? The offense really didn't take that much of a dip with Dak out. Yes, I said that last week. Thought that we were maybe going to get something a little bit better than this. Turns out a lot of us were wrong. Cooper Rush goes 4-1 a couple of years ago. I think that was 2022. He goes 4-1, and you're thinking to yourself, man, Cooper Rush, not too bad. Not bad. We'll take this. 4-1, I believe, with Cooper Rush 2 years ago when Dak goes down. Yeah, I think we got our answer. And Trey Lance, I think, is an even stronger no, if that's possible. I mean, look, at least Trey Lance gives you a little bit of a chance with his feet. You saw his speed. You saw Trey Lance run the ball. But at this point, I don't think that anyone watched that fourth quarter and thinks to themselves, Trey Lance is the answer. Like, Trey Lance was struggling to hit out routes. I mean, on the ball that Fergie fumbles, bad throw, and he's 7 yards away. I think on the very next drive, bad ball on another 5 and out. I mean, I just don't know how you watch this game and you think Trey Lance gives you any better shot in this one. So I'll take Cooper Rush again next week. I'm all for the Trey Lance package. You want to bring him in to run some read option. You want to bring him in to mix it up a little bit. Maybe, but I don't know who wants to just turn over the keys to Trey Lance the rest of the year. I mean, the interception he had, no, Tolbert wasn't looking at all. I definitely think you got to put maybe 50-50 blame on Tolbert for not even getting his head around to look for that ball. But Trey Lance is still throwing it into double coverage in that interception, with that interception, struggling to hit out routes accurately. I just don't know how you walk away thinking that Trey Lance is going to give you a better shot next week or the rest of the season. Trey Lance threw a NFL record, tied an NFL record in the preseason with 5 interceptions in one game. I mean, yes, we're talking about a preseason game. I think you could look at that glass half full, glass half empty. A preseason game, you're throwing 5 interceptions. I just don't think anyone with a football brain at all is thinking that Trey Lance is going to come in and do anything different than what happened at the beginning of this game with Cooper Rush. This is not a great team right now. I will say, I do think that the defense, you got to give some credit to. I mean, this defense had to withstand 5 turnovers by the offense. 5 turnovers by the offense today for the Cowboys. I know if you didn't watch the game, you probably look at the score and you say to yourself, the defense played terrible. I would really beg to differ on that one. I think the defense actually looked pretty good today. You're not going to have a lot of success when your offense turns the ball over 5 times and gives you a short field to work with in a majority of those turnovers. I know that the Trey Lance interception was basically a punt, but you had multiple fumbles, 4 fumbles lost today. Are you kidding me? Zeke Elliott especially. Like I said it on the live last week, and I just got to go back to it. Why is Zeke Elliott not cut by this point? How did you not cut him when he was failing to come to meetings and come to meetings on time? How is Zeke Elliott still on this team? And look, I love Zeke, love everything he did for us in the 2010s. I mean, look, there's always going to be a special place for him in the minds of Cowboys fans, but at this point, why is Zeke still on the team? Don't give me the money excuse, the cap hit and all that. Don't even give me that excuse. Cut the man. What is he doing? You're not doing the little things right, showing up to meetings on time, not being a good teammate. And then was that this first carry of the game? You come out and you fumble it into the end zone? I really don't know why Zeke is still on the roster. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why is Zeke? I mean, here's a better question. If you think that releasing Zeke is too strong, why is Zeke even getting the ball in that moment? Why are you letting Zeke carry the ball on first down within the 5-yard line when you've got Rico Dowdle, who's clearly the better back? Clearly the better back. I did not get that move at all, and I 100% put that on the coaching staff. Why do you even have Zeke Elliott in the game right there? Rico Dowdle should have had that ball 100%. There's no need to really give Zeke any kind of significant amount of carries. I'm sorry, you forfeit that when you don't show up to meetings and when you're showing up to team events late. I do not even know why they're trying to still, or why they even attempted to still go with the dual horse backfield. Like, why? Zeke, not a good teammate, not showing up on time, not showing up to meetings. Why is he still even getting significant carries? I'm sorry. Zeke is at best a guy you put in garbage time. I'm seeing a couple of comments like he's the short down back. We don't think Rico Dowdle could have been successful inside the 5-yard line on first down. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't give me that Zeke is the short yardage back. It was first down. I'm sure Rico Dowdle could have done just fine. Could have done just fine in that situation. So I don't buy that for a minute. I'd rather give it to the fullback than give it to Zeke Elliott at this point. I'd rather give it to the fullback. I'd rather give it to Dalvin Cook. I don't know why anyone would still be defending why Zeke is getting meaningful carries. It's ridiculous to me. Zeke should not even have a roster spot on this team right now. And that's coming from someone that loved Zeke's time with the Cowboys in the 2010s. And look, I'll look back on Zeke and I'll remember what he did his rookie season, what he did his first several years in the league. I'll try and forget about this and put this out of my mind, this chapter in Zeke's NFL career. But this is just ugly. Not being a good teammate, not being effective. Look, I think it's hilarious that some people are defending or trying to spin this in any other way. I've already said it's the coach's problem that they had Zeke in there in the first place. It's a coaching thing. Why do you have Zeke in there? But then it's an upper management thing. Why have you not cut him yet? Why have you not mandated that he stop getting meaningful snaps? I don't get it. Dalvin Cook, much better option. Give it to the fullback. Give it to Dowdle. I don't think that it's really that complicated. In fact, it's a no-brainer to me. But if all y'all want to keep seeing Zeke get fed, have fun with that. I am not going to be on that page at any point this season. I really don't care if Zeke has any kind of good game from here on out. Look, I'm sure it's because Jerry Jones loves the guy and just wants to see him do well. In fact, I see a couple comments like that right now. I'm sure it is. I don't know how anyone with a football mind looks at Zeke Elliott in the overall year that he's had, both as a teammate and the results on the field, and wants him back, wants him still getting meaningful carries. My goodness. 34-6. Like I said, if you had to pin down a bright spot in this one, you got to go defense. Micah Parsons flying around out there, overshown, flying around out there. You force the Eagles into a few turnovers. I know it's a 34-6 game. It's a 28-point game, but at the same time, really, the defense, to me, if you don't turn the ball over 5 times, you actually probably have a shot based on the defensive play. Again, if you're not turning the ball over, fumbling 4 times, getting intercepted once, defense has a much better shot in this one. We're going to go to some stats, though. Let's check it out. I'll get to some comments, too. I know I got a bunch of comments that I need to get to. That's my opening lead. The defense, though, today, again, just looking at the numbers, 5 total turnovers. Jalen Hurts threw an interception, was sacked 5 times. Again, I don't know how you blame defense at all in this one, or you don't walk away thinking that they played pretty well considering the circumstances. I really feel like they had a nice game today. I'm not trying to put lipstick on a pig. I'm not trying to be over the top. I would tell you if the defense played straight up garbage. I don't feel that way at all. I feel like the defense actually played well. And if the offense would have been mildly competent today, it may have been a closer margin of defeat. I don't think even with the offense playing mildly competently, I don't think you have any better shot here. I think the Cowboys were going to drop this game regardless. Look, it was close early on. 14-6 at half? That's not bad. 14-6 at half. You're playing against a terrible backup quarterback, at least a backup quarterback. Let me rephrase, that was having a terrible game. Is there a worse team in football? And I'm about to go in because I see some Eagles fans coming in, which I'm more than welcome. Have you seen a worse 7-2 team in the league than the Eagles? I feel like every year I'm saying this, like the Eagles, I mean, how fraudulent of a team can you be? The Eagles look terrible today. I don't know how you walk away from this game fearing the Eagles, thinking that they're an elite team in any which way. This was an ugly win, I think, for the Eagles. Regardless of the score, the Cowboys are not a good football team. They're playing with a backup quarterback. In fact, they played with their 3rd-string quarterback for a majority of the 4th quarter. I have no idea how you walk away from this game fearing the Eagles in any way. I get it. They're 7-2, playing a 2nd place or 3rd place, whatever it was, playing a 2nd place schedule. I don't know how you fear this team in the playoffs. Have fun with the 34-6 win, playing against the 3rd-string quarterback. Have fun with it. I don't think anybody is worried about the Eagles come playoff time. Look, today, Saquon, 14 carries, 66 yards. Jalen Hurts, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception. At some point, it's game script, right? I mean, they gave the ball, 38 carries. They kept it on the ground today. I don't know. I feel like with Dak, I don't know if I'm willing to say the Cowboys win this game, but I think it's a lot closer. A lot closer. I don't think there's 5 turnovers with Dak at the helm. Could be wrong on that one, but the Eagles, probably the worst 7-2 football team I've ever seen. mean, last week against the Jaguars was ugly. And regardless of the score today, to me, it's an ugly win for them. You're not going to get a whole lot of praise from me. Eagles beating up on a third-string quarterback and a second-string quarterback that looked completely lost out there. Mike, what's up, man? By the way, thanks for tuning in. Mike says Dak's winning this game. I really don't know. Really don't know about that. You know what helps me sleep at night? Speaking of, appreciate the comment, by the way. The Eagles consistently losing in the playoffs, which is basically what they've done since 2017. So, you know what? There's plenty that helps me sleep at night. Eagles aren't going anywhere. I don't know who in their right mind thinks the Eagles are going to be winning a Super Bowl, let alone getting far. I don't think a whole lot of teams are going to be knocking off the Lions. You got the Chiefs to go through, obviously, in the AFC. There's a number of teams that I would pick over the Eagles at this point. Again, have fun playing against the third-string quarterback, beating up on the Cowboys in a down year. Enjoy it, but the Eagles aren't going anywhere. Don't let anybody tell you differently. Nowhere. Again, Eagles fans, just be real. Like, be real, please. This was not a game you walk away from thinking, wow, we are an awesome football team. We are elite. I surely wouldn't be walking away if I was an Eagles fan thinking highly of our performance today. You beat up on a backup quarterback and a third stringer. The offense, to me, you had a short field, won probably half the drives. Seriously, y'all. Come on. I know you got to rub it in a little bit, and I'm fine with it. I'm totally willing to take it. Like, I get it. A rivalry game, rub it in a little bit. But after this is over, look in the mirror, please. This is not a great football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Bad coaching. The offense was gifted. Great field position all day long. Come on now. Again, rub it in, please. I'll take it. But don't walk away even thinking that this team, the Eagles, are close to an elite football team. Terribly coached. The offense, gifted, great field position. Come on now. I think I could be honest, and those of y'all that have watched me for a while, y'all know I would be honest. I would be picky. If this Cowboys team beat up on an Eagles squad, I'd be saying, you know what? This is what they were supposed to do. We got gifted most of our field position today. And you know what? They probably left some things out there on the table. Like sacked 5 times. The Eagles had a few turnovers today. Jalen Hurts had 2 turnovers in this game. 2 turnovers in this game. Didn't they have another one? I felt like they lost another fumble at some point. I don't know. 2 or 3 turnovers in this game. There was not a whole lot pretty for me about the Eagles. The defense, yeah, they gave up 6 points. We all know that should have been way more. This defense is not a great defense. Talking about the Eagles. We'll keep on going. Hey, I'll get to some comments here. I know I'm going to get a bunch of Eagles fans. That's all good. Again, y'all enjoy the playoff loss this year. Enjoy what are we going to say? Let's get this going in the comments right now. Is it going to be a first round exit or a second round exit for the Eagles? Are they going to win a game in the playoffs this year? Seriously, come on now. Are y'all going to actually win a playoff game this year? Come on. I don't even know who in their right mind thinks the Eagles are making it to the NFC Championship, let alone winning a couple of games. Come on. Have fun. That is completely delusional at this point. Completely delusional. Y'all make me laugh with some of these comments. Seriously. I can hear the hurt in your voice. It's okay. Hey, you know what? Most of us, I doubt there were a lot of Cowboys fans that really thought that this game was winnable. I'm not too worried about it. What's up to all y'all on YouTube, by the way? Appreciate all y'all. Yeah, look, a butt kicking today. No doubt. But did we expect a whole lot different? I was actually really surprised that the game actually was not a further or a wider spread. Like, what was it, 7 points? I was pretty shocked that it wasn't a bigger margin than that. But nevertheless, all facets of the game, you turn the ball over 5 times, not a lot of good stuff's going to happen at this point. Yeah, I agree with some bright spots here. Aubrey, Overshown, Parsons, Diggs. That was a crazy interception from Diggs. All right, that was a great interception. You got to look at some of the bright spots here. There's not a ton of them, but I will say the defense, I thought overall, you don't have 5 turnovers from the offense. I think it's a lot different ball game. Defense actually, I thought, came to play today. Hurts was running for his life. It felt like every other down. When you give a team like the Eagles a short field, they're going to cash in eventually. They are. So let me keep going here with comments. Appreciate all y'all tuning in. Detroit versus Texans. Who do I got? I'm going Detroit tonight, Sunday Night Football. I'm going Detroit. I'm not going to bet against them until they lose a game. What are they on, a 6-game win streak right now? I'm not betting against Detroit until they win a game. Let me see here. I'm an Eagles fan, but Diggs is a dog. Diggs is such a polarizing Cowboy. Like, if you watch Diggs, you've got a guy that can make an incredible interception like he did in the game today in the first half. And then you just see him getting absolutely cooked on some plays like you've seen earlier this season. He is such a polarizing player. I mean, I like Diggs a lot. Would obviously love for the Cowboys to continue to build around him in that secondary. By no means do I want to see anybody move on from him. But at the same time, I think you just say to yourself with Diggs, you just wish it could be more consistent with those types of plays. You feel like, at least I do, it's a little bit feast or famine with him. A little feast or famine with Diggs. The play today, though, was incredible. That is one of the best plays by a defensive back that you will see all season long. No doubt. Let me keep going through. Appreciate all y'all tuning in. Thank you so much. Oh, I got to sift through a bunch of the trolls, but we're going to make it through. Have fun. Like I said, Eagles fans, have fun. I mean, look, this is definitely something for y'all to enjoy. There's not going to be a lot of playoff success for y'all this year, so I get it. Take away the turnovers, and the Cowboys still, yeah, I agree. Like, you don't turn the ball over 5 times. Never did I say during this entire show that the Cowboys are going to win the game without the turnovers. In fact, I said very blatantly, it's a closer game, but I don't know, even if Cooper Rush plays perfect, if they still win this game. Eagles probably win a close one. Who knows, though? Honestly, who knows? Do I see the Cowboys maybe trading Dak in the offseason? No. I think the Cowboys are going to be sticking with Dak for a long time. I really don't know if they are ever going to move off of Dak. It seems like Jerry Jones, the Jones family, there's a love affair there. I don't know that they're going to be drafting a quarterback anytime soon. I would have loved for them to have drafted a quarterback in this last draft. And then you know what? Dak's in a contract year, and you see what happens. I don't know. You don't sign Dak this year. He has this injury. You're probably getting Dak maybe at a small discount. And who knows? I mean, look, hindsight is 2020, obviously, but yeah, the $60 million a year signing does not look awesome right now. Does not look awesome. So we'll see what happens next year, what kind of player Dak is. I'm sure we're going to get more of the same from him. Like, Dak is going to give you a shot. And if Jerry Jones actually surrounds Dak with some talent, which he did not for this season, I could see the Cowboys having a decent year next year. But when you don't give Dak anything but CD and a box of rocks, like, it's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. I like some players on the Cowboys offense. I like Fergie. I like Dowdle, not as a lead back, but I like Dowdle. They've got some pieces. I don't hate everything on offense, but let's be real. They needed another playmaker. And they just have Lamb, and that's about it. I really think they're going to look back on the offseason. Maybe they don't. In fact, I was just saying to one of my buddies, I really don't know what it is going to be or what it's going to take for the Cowboys front office to realize they've hit rock bottom. I don't know. I feel like this season is just going to get blamed on the Dak injury. Like, are you really going to totally blow everything up? I don't think so. I think that the front office is going to blame the Dak injury. It was a bad year. Maybe get a new coach in there and just try and keep this thing going. I don't think that they're planning on doing any kind of rebuild or reboot at all. I wish. I really do. I think this is the year that you probably would want to blow it up and start from scratch, but I don't think that that's going to happen. I think the Dak injury gives them an out. I think it gives them an out and it gives them a reason to not do it. And I think it's unfortunate. I'm not saying you got to dump Dak. I'm not saying that you got to trade everybody away, but I do think it's an opportunity for them to do a lot different. And I don't know if they will. In fact, I think that they're going to use the Dak injury as an excuse to not do a whole lot different. We'll see. Y'all will still manage to mess up the draft pick. I'm definitely, you've heard me if you've been listening to me for a while now, which some of y'all have. I'm not a fan of the Cowboys' last two drafts at all. I think this last draft was pretty bad. Guyton does not look good. I know there's going to be some apologists that say it's way too early to be able to make a call on Guyton. I would say early signs are not great. Early signs are not great for Guyton. Now, the rest of the draft, we'll see. I think the Overshown pick from a couple years ago looks really good. You got great value for Overshown. He was injured last year, and that dude is all over the field on defense. Again, Overshown and Parsons look phenomenal today. So for me, Overshown is about the only player worth anything the last two drafts. I think it's been two back-to-back bad drafts for the Cowboys. I really don't expect them to get next year's right unless there is a pick just staring them right in the face. Like CeeDee Lamb, I mean, that was a slam dunk. I'll give them credit for Micah Parsons. I mean, look, you were taking a risk on Parsons, who did not play in that COVID year. You came back, drafted him first round. Look, I still think that Parsons was a pretty solid, mildly obvious pick as well, but there was a degree of risk with him not having played the full COVID season, sitting that out. So I don't know. I think the last 2 years have been pretty bad, and it's not really a shock to me that the Cowboys are not a great football team this year when you consider that they're not really getting anything out of any of those draft picks save Overshown. Let me keep going here. I'll have to sift through some of these. We could have taken Derrick Henry. David, totally agree. If you're still watching, I think Henry would have been an obvious choice. With such a one-sided view to think the Cowboys will be good next year. I don't think it's a hot take to say the Cowboys are going to be good next year. You never know what the team is completely going to look like. You don't know what the draft class is going to look like. You don't know what the free agent signings will look like. Look, I'm not saying that they're going to go out and spend a ton of money, but I don't think it's a hot take to say the Cowboys are definitely going to bounce back and have a better year next year than they will this year. I don't think that they are going to be a 3-14 team or a 5-12 team next year. So if you think that's a hot take, all right. But I think the Cowboys will be better next year for sure. Let me keep going. I was being told the O-line was going to be top 5 and defense was going to be better this year with Zimmer. Well, Tyler, appreciate the comment. I will say this. I think you got to give Zim a break. Like, you got to give Zimmer a break. He doesn't have Tank Lawrence. He didn't have Micah Parsons for a majority of the year. You didn't have Deron Bland. There's a lot of guys missing. Like, there's a lot of guys missing on defense. For me, I'm not going to go too all in on Zimmer and rip him a new one. For me, I think that you've got a lot of injuries on defense. And look, today, not really a reflection on the defense. 5 turnovers by the offense. Eagles had short field, 3 or 4 different times. I think over half their points, or about half the Eagles' points, were off turnovers today. You're not going to have a lot of success as a defensive unit when that's going on. I will say the O-line has not been great. You've got old reliable Zach Martin, but both the draft picks on the line to me have not been anything special, right? I don't think Beebe, I don't think Guyton have been anything special. And I know Guyton doesn't play today, but to me, those picks feel like whiffs. I know that for the center, you did not have to spend like a super high draft pick, but nevertheless, I really feel like they whiffed on the linemen this year. I hope to be wrong. I know that everybody that just wants to vehemently defend the Cowboys apologists will keep telling you that you got to have more patience and you got to have more time to really judge these guys. I don't know. Then there's guys like Overshone and Parsons that make an immediate impact, and you just wonder to yourself, why can't these other first-round picks do the same thing? So for me, I'm not a big fan of playing the long game with draft picks. The NFL is a league where it's, what have you done for me lately? You've got guys coming in and making an immediate impact in the league. You do. So I'm not a big fan of handing out excuses to some of these players that we drafted high in the first round that aren't contributing. Mozzie Smith, where are you at? Mozzie Smith, first round draft pick, where are you at? And there's still some people, I'm sure they're going to tell me to have patience with Mozzie. That's what I heard all of last year when I came out and said the Cowboys were dead wrong with their draft pick, in the first round, with their draft class last year. I got a ton of crap for it. I really don't know how at this point you're willing to play the long game with some of those draft picks. And this year's does not really look any better. Let me keep going here. I'll keep checking comments. Appreciate all the comments, by the way. Do I think they fire the coach? Yeah, I don't know how you retain Mike McCarthy after this year. I know it's not his fault per se. I mean, Mike did not put this team together. Mike is not the GM. But I do think at this point, it is a great opportunity to just get a fresh voice in there. Mike has not had a lot of postseason success with the team. I think it's a natural transition to go to another coach. Do I think McCarthy is going to get fired in season? That would surprise me. I would think it'd have to get pretty ugly for Jerry Jones to fire Mike McCarthy in season. But I do think that they move on from him. I'd like to see Cliff Kingsbury. I'd like to see maybe a guy like Mike Vrabel come in. Maybe you get both those dudes. Maybe you get Kingsbury, and then you go get a Vrabel to run the defense. Look, you seen what Kingsbury has done with the Commanders and Jaden Daniels. I'd love for him to come in, mix things up. Maybe he doesn't want to leave that situation, but I think the Cowboys got to do something different. You can't go old veteran coach. I think they got to get a little spicy. I think they've got to mix it up. You tried like the tried and true veteran coach with McCarthy, right? You tried that. It didn't work out, in my opinion. I mean, yes, you had some 12-5 seasons. That's great. You didn't have a lot of playoff success, right? You beat Tom Brady on his way out. You had a couple of nice games here and there, a couple of signature wins, but nothing for me that I feel like warrants them continuing to give Mike McCarthy extensions. I think that they would benefit from a new voice, and I think they got to try something a little bit cutting edge. Not just going to the old veteran coach that won a Super Bowl, 10, 11, 12 years ago. I'm not saying you got to hire somebody brand new that has zero head coaching experience, but you got to try something a little different. Yeah, I agree. The defense, you just can't judge the defense based off this season and the injuries. In this game in particular, I don't know why you would be judging the defense at all. In fact, I think you can make a great argument that the defense actually played really well. Jalen Hurts was running for his life. He turned the ball over multiple times. Cowboys had 5 sacks. Like, how are you blaming the defense for this one? You're just telling us that you didn't watch the game. If you watch the game, I think you understand why the defense yielded 34 points. Let me keep going here. Mike McCarthy, it's not McCarthy's fault. Like, I don't want anybody to get it twisted. Like, I don't think anybody blames Mike McCarthy for this loss. Why would you blame Mike McCarthy? The dude is operating with a backup quarterback, not everybody healthy on defense, and you're playing with a team that really got zero upgrades in the offseason. I really don't even understand it. Let me go to some comments here. Yeah, we're gonna talk. We can circle back to this. How did Ole Miss beat Georgia? I said it yesterday on the live. For all those of y'all that don't know, I cover pretty much every team I love from Texas. A big Cowboys fan, obviously. Longhorns, Texas Rangers. Y'all see the background here. So pretty much all the teams I love. And look, the Longhorns at least are having a decent season. I don't know what happened in that Georgia game. And the Georgia game yesterday, wow. Did not see that one coming at all. We can circle back to that, though. Let's stay on track here. Keep going. You guys have struggled for a couple of weeks. Yeah, it has been a struggle for a couple of weeks. Niners game, tough. You're playing in San Fran. That honestly was a game they probably could have won. I mean, look, you've got definitely a team here that could be playing better, but I really don't know if the Cowboys, even at full strength, were going to finish with double-digit wins this year. I said from the beginning of the season, 9-8, I thought was probably where they were going to end up. 10-7 would be very, very fortunate. But I said 9-8. They're not going to hit that this year. They'll be lucky to get to like 7-10. I would think they're probably going to end up something like 6-11. I think they'll win a couple of games. I think they'll win a few games down the stretch, maybe surprise. But even that might be overly optimistic. I mean, it might be at this point. We'll see. Let me keep going here. One thing, $145 to park. Where is that at? One thing I did wonder, I'm like, God bless all the Cowboys fans that were there today. I will gladly watch every Cowboys game regardless of how they're doing. I love the Cowboys. Not a fair weather fan, even though they are doing absolutely terrible this season. You won't see me just not watching. But you will not see me spending big time money to go sit and watch this team live, which I know some people have season tickets. I get it. I really don't know why you would be spending your hard-earned money to go watch this team this year. I mean, the team is not putting in money of their own to improve the club. I really don't understand spending $1,000 going to the Cowboys this season. Like, if it's a winning season, I get it. But for me, don't understand spending tons of money on Cowboys tickets this year. God bless those fans. That is a whole nother level that I would not be willing to do myself. I will gladly watch them from the comfort of my living room. I am not trying to spend hundreds or over $1,000 for a Cowboys experience this year. No, thank you. David says, could have made Dan Quinn head coach. I think hindsight's 2020, but of course, I think most Cowboys fans would have preferred Dan Quinn to get awarded that position. It would have been awkward. It would not have been a super, super smooth, pretty move, but it would have been the right move. Like, it wouldn't have been an awesome move. Mike McCarthy, you're fired, and you got a year left on your contract, but you're fired, and Dan Quinn, you're the new coach. It would have been awkward, but I think it would have been the right move. Keep going here. Let's see. Making zero moves in the offseason cost us every team. Yeah, I agree. The offseason is where it all started. The offseason is absolutely where it all started. Tyler says Jerry is blowing the season so he can trade Dak and get a quarterback. If that's true, I would be more than happy with that plan. If Jerry Jones is tanking this year to try and get a high draft pick, and then he's going to trade Dak in the offseason, I would love that. I am, look, a Dak Prescott fan in terms of the man, the person, the teammate. I love Dak. He is a great man. He's overcome a lot in his life. Good dude, good leader, good locker room guy. But on the field as a quarterback, leading this Cowboys team to that ever elusive since the late 90s Super Bowl victory, I can't say that I think Dak's the guy. Let me keep going here with comments. Got to sift through quite a bit of the trolls, but we're going to make it, y'all. Yeah, this is all on Jerry. Got to agree. It does start with him. no doubt. Look, if the Cowboys are tanking, I'm seeing a lot of y'all saying that the Cowboys are tanking. If that is true, I really hope that y'all aren't having too much confidence that the Cowboys are going to get the draft pick right. Like, if you're happy with the tanking plan, I would just say cross your fingers, say some prayers, buckle up, and let's pray that they get the draft pick right. I don't sit here super confident that that's going to happen. So anybody that is just leaning into that glass half full, at least we get a nice draft pick. I just would not be holding my breath that the Cowboys are going to do the right thing with it. Let me keep going here. Let's see. I missed a bunch of these. Sorry, y'all. If I missed you, that's my bad. Cowboys should, yeah, I've seen a lot of the Cowboys should just lose on purpose. Look, in theory, it sounds great. In theory, it sounds awesome. Cowboys get a high draft pick. Just look, I think Trey Lance, if you put Trey Lance in and just let him start the rest of the year, mission will be accomplished. Like, just put Trey Lance in if you want to see the Cowboys get a high draft pick. He will do the job for you, no doubt. Let's see. No matter what quarterback you get, there's no fix. I don't believe that at all. I think a good quarterback, a good coach. Again, if you draft a quarterback in this next year's draft, let's say they do get a top 10 pick and you're able to draft a quarterback, maybe trade up to get a quarterback. I do think a new coach, maybe you go get a Cliff Kingsbury. Look at what he's done with Jaden Daniels as the offensive coordinator. Go get Cliff, draft a quarterback high, and here we go. I really do think that a new quarterback could solve a lot of the problems. I really do feel that way. It's not everything, but I think we have to be honest. Quarterbacks matter a lot in this league. It's not at all a hot take to say quarterback is almost nearly everything offensively. You don't have a good quarterback, you're not going to win a Super Bowl. It's not the early 2000s. Like, it's not. And I've done a bunch of takes on this. I'm not going to get the exact numbers right, but you go back and look at the number of first round quarterbacks that have been involved in Super Bowls all time. It's like almost always a first round quarterback. Like, over 75% of all Super Bowls have featured a first round quarterback. Like, I mean, you need to have, in my opinion, a first round quarterback to consistently be good in this league. Are there exceptions like Tom Brady? Yes. Do I think that you are going to consistently be good without a first round quarterback? No. Do I think you're going to make it to a Super Bowl consistently without a first round quarterback? Double no. Let me keep going here. Why didn't y'all get Derrick Henry? Ask Jerry. They should have got Derrick Henry. No reason they couldn't have picked him up. And you could have got creative. I know a lot of people clapped back at me a couple weekends ago when I was talking about Derrick Henry. The cap, they couldn't afford him. You could have made room. You could have done some trades. You could have dumped some salary. You could have got creative to get Derrick Henry to Dallas. You could have. So for Jerry to say we couldn't afford him, and for Cowboys fans to try and defend and say the cap space wasn't there, you can always get creative with the cap. You can make trades to lessen or to increase the amount of cap that you have. I don't know. I don't buy that at all. Let me keep going here. 34-6 is crazy. Yeah, when you turn the ball over 5 times, that happens. Coach Prime? Chris, I don't know about that. Do any of y'all want to see Coach Prime coach this team? Dude, I don't know. I don't know. Do you really want to see Dion come in here? I don't know if he's the guy. For me, I got to see more consistent winning at the college level before I want Dion as the head coach of an NFL team. I mean, look, would it create a ton of hype? 100%. Especially, imagine this: we hire Dion and then we draft Shador. I mean, how much like crazy media hype would that be? That would be insane. I'm not saying it's the right move. I am saying it would be off the charts ratings and media hype if they did that. Let me keep going here. We need a spark. I agree. What's it going to be though? Like honestly, what is it going to be the spark? Like you put Lance in and I think we all see Trey Lance is not going to be the spark. Like the dude has problems hitting an out route. You watched him miss multiple out routes at this point. Like I don't think he's the spark. A lot of people I know wanted to see Trey, like the speed, like the ground game that you get with Lance, but the dude has problems hitting basic routes. Threw an interception in a double coverage. I know Tolbert wasn't even looking, but still, you threw it into double coverage. You can't hit an out route. I don't think Trey Lance is going to be the answer. You could fire McCarthy if the spark, if you think that's going to spark it, but I just don't know. You've got injuries on this team. You didn't upgrade the roster in the offseason. I don't think this team is really going to play any better for an interim coach. I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of a different result. It would have to be really, really terrible for Mike McCarthy to get fired in season. Hey, what's up, Nolan? Appreciate you tuning in. Omar, thanks for that, man. Appreciate the comment. Look, there's no excuses being made. Like, I don't know, the people, the trolls that are saying excuses, like, what excuses have I made? Like, injuries, I guess if you want to say that's an excuse, like we're saying injuries are an excuse, they're a reality. It's a reality of the game. We're not sitting here saying we'd be going to the Super Bowl if we didn't have all these injuries. I'm not saying that. I think if you were going to call me out because I'm saying if the Cowboys were just healthy, they'd be going to a Super Bowl. Hey, not once have you heard me say that. But the injuries are 100% a reason why the Cowboys have not been as good this year. The quarterback's injured. You were missing your top two edge rushers, Tank Lawrence and Micah Parsons missed together combined a fourth of the season, and Tank is still out. Deron Bland, a guy that set the NFL record for pick sixes in a season, he didn't play the whole first part of this year. Like, there's no excuses being made. I mean, I don't think that the offseason is an excuse either. It's a reality. The Cowboys didn't add anybody. And why would you be expecting them to have any better season than last year, adding no one and losing Tony Pollard? I just don't understand anybody that's saying I'm just sitting here giving a bunch of excuses. Like, the Cowboys are not a good team right now. There's some reasons that we can throw out there, but I don't think excuses is what we're doing here by any means. 100%. Antonio, appreciate the comment. Look, Cowboys, like, seriously, till I die, I'm not trying to jump off the bandwagon, not a fair weather fan. I've been with the Cowboys my whole life, love them. But with that being said, you got to call it like it is sometimes. This is not a good football team. And like I said, I will watch every game, but you're not going to see me spending hundreds of dollars on Cowboys tickets this year. That's why I said, God bless the fans that still are. I know there's some season ticket holders in there. God bless them. But I am not going to be spending my hard-earned money going to a Cowboys game, paying a bunch of money to go watch this team. I will watch every game on TV, but I will not be going live to watch this. Let me see. If Jerry wants to win, he needs to step down. Look, that's the obvious thing that needs to happen. Jerry Jones needs to relinquish the authority, the GM authority. It's unfortunate. Like, the Cowboys could have had Harbaugh last year. The Cowboys could have had Peyton, but you don't want to give up the control. Both Harbaugh, I think, and Peyton, to an extent, they want a lot of say over personnel. And so they're not a fit in Dallas because you got an owner that wants to control a lot of the roster decisions. Or let me put it to you this way, because I personally think Stephen Jones is a lot more involved than what the casual fan wants to give credit for. I think Jerry is the mouthpiece, but I think Stephen Jones makes a lot of the moves. Jerry gets the blame. Jerry is the one who gets all of the airwaves and all the airtime, the press coverage. But I think Stephen Jones has his hand in the cookie jar a lot more than we think he does. So for me, the family just needs to take a step back. Let somebody else run this show. I don't think there's going to be any kind of huge shift. Like, I would be shocked if Belichick came in and they gave Bill total control over the roster. That would shock me. I feel like the Cowboys are going to try and run this one back. Maybe they get a new coach, but I don't think they are going to be rebuilding at all. Who knows what they're going to do with that high draft pick? You can imagine they're probably going to be a top 10 draft pick this year. If I had to guess, we'll see what happens. Let me keep going. Jerry needs to stop looking for attention 100%. Zeke keeps crying about not getting the ball. Yeah, look, I already went in on Zeke, so I'm not going to try and rehash that entire thing, but Zeke needs to get cut. And if you're not going to cut him, stop giving him the ball. There's no reason Zeke needed to get the ball in that situation. Should have been Rico all the way. Zeke's not been a good teammate this year, missing team events, showing up late. I'm over it. It was fun to have him come back. I thought it was cool. I thought, hey, he can be a nice short down yardage back. I don't think that I would have any qualms with dumping Zeke at this point, cap hit or not. And if you're not going to dump him because of the cap, at least sit him on the bench. We don't need to be seeing Zeke unless it is a blowout or unless we are getting blown out. For me, I'm over Zeke at this point. I'm going to choose to forget this chapter and just remember the good times. I don't think Zeke needs to be touching the football in any meaningful kind of downs. Just my opinion. Let me keep going here. I think we've always made it all the way through. Bill is way beyond the years. They need someone like Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson would be great. I just don't think the Cowboys are going to get him. I hope that they do. That's why I didn't even mention Ben. I know some of y'all are saying, like, how could you not even mention him? I just don't think that the Cowboys are going to go get Johnson. I hope that they do. I don't know if Ben Johnson would want to come to Dallas. Does he want to leave Detroit? We'll see. Like last year, I feel like a lot of teams would have given him the keys happily, but he wanted to stay in Detroit. So does Ben Johnson want to leave that situation? I don't know. If we had Dak, do I think that we win this game? I would say no, but it's probably a lot closer. But look, Zeke probably still fumbles that football. Like it's hard. Like what we got to go like butterfly effect mode here. Like I don't know. The answer is I don't know. I would probably say on the fly here, Eagles probably still win this game, but it's a lot closer. Maybe the Cowboys get lucky at the end, squeak out a victory if Dak's playing. I don't feel like that is like a foregone conclusion by any means, though. Appreciate the follows, by the way. I see a bunch of y'all have followed since we started the live. Thank you so much. Appreciate all you guys. Let me keep going here. Cowboys should have started all over this year. I would have been okay with them moving on from Dak or letting Dak play this year out on a lame duck contract, so to speak. But I know that the Cowboys were kind of in panic mode a little bit. They totally botched the Dak contract. Like you had to sign Dak sooner than this if you were going to sign Dak. Like I don't get the last second right before the season starts, giving Dak the extension. You could have extended Dak last year and paid a lot less for him, at least not $60 million a year. Come on now. Right? The Cowboys have kind of miffed the Dak negotiations multiple times, though. Like if you just would have signed Dak in the early stages of both of his contracts, would have been a lot better. Who should we look for coaches? I think the obvious ones, Belichick, Vrabel, Ben Johnson, Cliff Kingsbury. I think those are the obvious choices for head coach for next year. I would be extremely disappointed if they decide to run it back with Mike McCarthy. Let me keep going here. Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah, that injury was gruesome. Feel bad for Hutch. Love watching him play. 100%. Thanks for the comment. Why don't people realize that Dak was never the answer in Dallas? It blows my mind. I have never been of the mindset that Dak was going to lead us to a Super Bowl. I have been on the record saying you didn't have a lot of better options than Dak unless you were going to trade up for a quarterback and give some capital away to get maybe a top 5, top 10 draft pick and get a quarterback. But at this point, I totally agree. Dak is not the answer. And I don't think you're winning a Super Bowl with Dak. But I think what you got into with Jerry in the front office and the mindset is We don't have anyone else. A little bit of a panic buy, and here we are. And that contract already not looking great. You can't help the injuries, right? But in hindsight, if you don't extend Dak right before the season starts, it would be really interesting what they would be doing. Like if Dak does not sign that deal before the season, gets injured right now, what move are you making? That would have been really interesting. But look, it is what it is. Dak's still under contract for 3 more years. I still say Cowboys should draft a quarterback. Trading Dak, are you going to even be able to trade Dak? Like I know some of y'all saying trade Dak, trade Dak. Is there a team that's going to want to take on that contract? Like the Cowboys are going to have to probably eat some of it. I don't know. I would not be licking my chops as a fellow GM trying to take on that contract, trying to take on Dak at that price. That would not be my move. I would probably rather trade away capital and get a high draft pick and draft a quarterback than take on that salary from Dak. Just me. Let me keep going. Jerry Jones needs to pay the salary, stay out of the coaching affairs. Totally agree. Like, can you just hand the reins over to somebody else? That would be 100% all right with me. Let me keep going. This year is over. Next year, a lot of draft picks plus a top 5 pick in the draft, the way things are going. Yeah, I think next year the Cowboys could easily rebound. You've got a good core. They're probably going to re-sign Parsons. You've got Lamb. You've got Dak. It's a solid core. Like you've got Overshown. I think he's going to be a dude for this defense for a long time. You signed Diggs to a longer contract. Like you've got a good core. You don't need to blow it up. You could blow it up at the quarterback position, though. You could blow it up there and start over. But you've got a good core of talent, I think. I don't think it's a hot take at all to say the Cowboys could have a bounce-back year next year with a good draft. Like, you've got to get the draft right. You've had 2 bad drafts back-to-back years. You've got to get this year's draft right, whatever you do. Whatever you do. Let me keep going. See what I got for comments. Appreciate the follows. Destroyer, thanks for the gift, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody that's followed the account. Hey, every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, whenever the Cowboys play, look, rain or shine, we're here. We're not hiding. Nobody's hiding right now. It's not a good year. Not a good year for the Cowboys, but nobody's hiding. You got to take this one on the chin. It is what it is. This was not going to be a Super Bowl team. Even without the Dak injury, even without the injuries to Parsons and Lawrence, this team wasn't going to the Super Bowl. I hope that they would make the playoffs and maybe you get hot and make somewhat of a run. But I think most teams, you know, if you just look at this team objectively, you could say pretty easily, this isn't a Super Bowl team. So I know that the running knock on Cowboys fans is every year is our year. I don't think a lot of Cowboys fans realistically looked at this team and thought Super Bowl. Eagles fans, have fun with this one. But if you don't think that Parsons, Lamb, Diggs, Overshown, I think you throw in there too. If you don't think that's a good core, I get it. You're a hater, but come on now. The Cowboys have a good core of talent. You have got to make sure, though, that you get this year's draft right. Got to get this year's draft right. That's got to happen. Objectively, Jerry should follow the light. Oh, hey, you said it, not me. I don't wish that on anybody, but I do wish that Jerry would at least give the team over to somebody else. Diggs, questionable. I did talk about Diggs, and I said, he feels like a feast or famine player a lot. You're either going to get an outstanding play, just like you got today, intercepting Jalen Hurts in the end zone. Incredible play from Trayvon Diggs, or you're going to see him getting burned. Right? It doesn't feel consistent enough for me, but I will say this. I'll take it. I'm not trying to get rid of Trayvon Diggs. Not trying to get rid of him. Fire McCarthy? Yeah. I would not be retaining Mike McCarthy. Nothing against him. I think he got a bad shake this year with Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones not improving the team at all in the offseason. But I don't think that you can retain McCarthy. I don't think he's done enough in 3 or 4 years to make you feel good that he's going to be the guy to lead them back to the Super Bowl. Appreciate the follows, by the way. Thank you to all y'all. We'll keep the comments going. I don't have a whole lot else about this one. I mean, what we took away positively, the defense, getting Parsons back, it's helpful. If the offense keeps turning it over this much, it's not going to matter if the defense plays better. It's just not. But I do think that the defense showed some promising signs. 2 turnovers today, 5 sacks, Overshown and Parsons. That tandem looks deadly. You get Tank Lawrence back. This is once again going to be one of the best pass rushing defenses in the league. So I don't know how you look at the defense today and blame them in any which way. 5 turnovers from the Cowboys offense today. That's never going to go well. Next week, Texans. Let's do a little preview, and I'll check comments as we go. Next week, Texans. Not a great game to have coming off of a loss like this. The Texans 6-3. They're up 6-0 right now, trying to go up 14-0 or 13-0. They've got the ball at the Detroit 8, 2nd and goal, halfway through the first quarter. So the Texans, if they beat Detroit tonight, that is the last team that you want to play. The last team that you want to play after a loss like tonight. I mean, look, I'm not expecting great things from the Texans game next week. I hope to be wrong and the Cowboys at least play competitively, but I am not looking forward to that game next week. Liam, thanks for the compliment, buddy. Love you too. I'm sure you know so much as well. That's what I mean. The people that always are telling others that they don't know anything about football, I usually find that those are the people that know the least. So keep it coming. Appreciate the comments, buddy. Tune in next week. All right. Let's keep things rolling, though. We're going to wrap things up. Texans, actually, is this the Monday night game? Is that what I'm seeing? Or is this the Sunday night game? Oh, so we're Monday Night Football next week. We about to get embarrassed on Monday Night Football, huh? Oh, boy. Oh, boy. But we'll be back Monday night next week. Cowboys will host the Texans. You never know. The NFL is wild. Like, as I'm looking at some of these games, like, think about the Chiefs game today. Did anybody expect the Broncos to play the Chiefs close at home? I mean, I don't know if anybody had that one, a blocked field goal away from the Broncos handing the Chiefs their first loss. My point in bringing that up is this. Any given Sunday, you just don't know what's going to happen in this league. There are a lot of results that totally shock me from week to week. Like, you know, the Panthers getting the win over the Giants. I know the Giants aren't good. I don't know if anyone had the Panthers winning this game. I bring that up because you never know what can happen. It's why they play the game. So would it totally shock me if the Cowboys come out next week and play some competitive football? No, it wouldn't. Do I think the Cowboys are going to get a win? I would say doubtful at this point, but I hope to be wrong. Hope to be wrong. All right, y'all. Any given Sunday, Liam. Any given Sunday. You never know. Like I said, come back next week. Show off your football knowledge again, bro. Like I said, it's always the people saying you don't know ball that usually know nothing themselves. Am I right? All right. I think we got to put this one to bed. 34-6 final. 34-6 final. Cowboys lose this one in Cooper Rush's first start of the season. Trey Lance gets a little time. Defense plays well, but it's not enough in this one. 5 turnovers from the offense. On to next week. On to Monday night. Cowboys host the Texans. We'll be back. Appreciate all y'all. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back on Wednesday to talk some Texas Rangers offseason. We took a week off last week. Texas Rangers haven't made a ton of moves this offseason player-wise, but front office has been shaken up a little bit. So Wednesday night, we'll be back talking Texas Rangers. Come join us if you're a fan of the Rangers or MLB in general. We'll talk some MLB, hot stove, offseason. Juan Soto, where's he going to end up? We'll get into all that good stuff Wednesday night. Come back, hang out. Hope y'all have a great rest of your Sunday and a good start to your week. Want to say a special thank you to all of our veterans that have served our great country. Without them, who knows what this world would be like, the people that lay down their lives to protect the United States of America. Praying for all of our troops overseas, all of our troops that are serving our great nation. Thank you. We appreciate you. And tomorrow, thank a veteran if you see one. It's a great day. Proud to be an American, proud that we live in a great nation, and it's in large part to the people that serve this nation in the armed forces. So thank you. Genuinely appreciate all of you. All right, guys, great rest of your night. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Cowboys.